Hey guys, Ms. Eberle here. So tonight I'm talking to you because I really want to introduce an idea called Prep-tober. Okay, so as many of you know, in November we're partaking in National Novel Writing Month, or Nanowrimo, right? And so one of the things that we're going to do with that is we're going to be writing our own stories. We're going to be creating our own stories. You're coming up with the characters. You're coming up with a storyline. But to be able to start writing on November 1st, it's kind of an unrealistic expectation. I mean, what are you going to write about? Me, if you just say, okay, go, write a whole book, I'm frozen. I'm stuck. Okay, but if I take some time beforehand and I'm thinking, okay, what characters could I be using? Or like, I don't know, where could this take place? What kind of story am I looking for? All of those things are going to be possible if you plan ahead. Now, if you don't plan ahead, that's going to be a problem, right? So we kind of use October to start prepping or enjoying Preptober. Okay, so I will be doing a series of video vlogs that'll be helping you as I journey through my Preptober experience. So the first step for Preptober is to really start thinking about, all right, where do we get started? What do I need to be able to move forward? And so you need 3 things. A trusty writing utensil. I'm a pen snob, so I like these. These are kind of the Pilot G2, the jelly kind of ones. But it doesn't really matter. You know, you need a notebook. Now, a lot of you are going to use your writing notebook, which is perfect. That's what it's here for. I don't have a writing notebook, so I'm going to just create this book to be a dedicated writing inside of journal book thing. So I just went to like Barnes & Noble and picked it up on clearance, which is kind of my favorite to do. So I have 2 things, my pen, my book. What else do I need? Oh, my creativity in my brain. And you're like thinking to yourself, that's ridiculous. Duh, we've got our brains. We've always got our brains. I know. But here's the reality. You have to like use it, right? And that sounds silly, but we're trying to touch into our creative senses here. We're trying to use our imagination. And the reality is we just don't get to use those very much at school. We're not getting to use them nearly as much as we get older. So we really have to get ourselves in the right mindset and just start thinking out of the box and thinking much more creatively. So we have our writing utensil, our book, and our imaginations. Now that we have the supplies we need, here's this next step. We have to decide, what are we going to write about? Now, let me be really clear. There is no right or wrong way to do this. I do it one way. You're going to walk down the street. You may find somebody else that does it another way. There are a lot of professional authors that do it completely differently. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, a lot of people, though, myself included, like to start with characters. It's all well and good that you're sitting here and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to write this story and this guy's going to go on this adventure. But like, who's this guy? I need to know more. Because once you have good, solid characters, you can start building a story around them. And this is going to really help feed into this idea of the flow of your writing. A lot of authors talk about this, but they don't ever really define what does that actually mean. What'll happen is you can start a story with a great plan, but sometimes the story will take a different twist or a different turn than you had originally intended on. That's because you've created these characters that are so believable, they're taking on a life of their own. And that's part of what good authors do. They're creating characters that you can relate with so much that they feel like real people. So you have to create that kind of character that feels like a real person, that has enough detail to be a real person. So what I want you to do tonight, or today, whatever time zone you may be in, is to create one main character. One main character. Now, if you think about it though, a main character or a protagonist, this is going to be somebody that's going to change from the beginning of your story to the end of your story. They're not going to be one of the little fluffy side characters that always does the same thing over and over again. This is going to be your main character. You're going to be spending a lot of time with this person or creature. You want to make it somebody that you can relate to, somebody that you can like. Because if you don't like your main character, I guarantee you nobody reading your stuff is going to like your main character. So spend today really, truly just thinking about your main character. What do they look like? What do they eat? What do they wear? What do they choose to do in their spare time? Who do they hang out with? All of the things that when you're describing yourself, when people ask you, what kind of person are you? You need to create answers for your character. And because this character is made up, it's coming out of your imagination, it could be anything, but it has to make sense. So you can't have your person or your creature, your main character, your protagonist, be a slob and OCD. You can't have them be a super messy person and then freak out when somebody else makes a mess. Like, those two things don't match, right? You need to start thinking about what makes sense when you're thinking about these characters. Post in the comments, tell me, what's your main character's name? What are they like? I want to hear about them. Maybe I'll share you a little bit about mine in my vlog tomorrow. Have a good one. It's no fun to write completely alone, completely in isolation. I want to hear about your characters as you're developing these main characters. Post in the comments, tell me their names, what do they look like, how do they act? I want to hear. And maybe, just maybe, I'll consider sharing some details about mine. We'll see you on the next vlog.